it's also very important, and I'm coming back now to the contract for the sale of land, to be realistic and not put in a 10-day time frame for finance and 10 days for settlement, because your bank will never be ready. And this is why it's really important to see your settlement agent or solicitor before you actually do the settlement. Now, if you're a new resident in Australia, you've come from over east, if you're a resident and you're not a permanent resident or a citizen, you can only buy a new property, or if you buy a second-hand property, you need to get FIRB or Foreign Investment Review Board approval. And this is because the government just wants to keep a record of who's buying or selling property in Western Australia. The FIRB is the part of the Treasury, and it's basically a rubber stamp. But if you are a foreigner, you need to make sure that your contract is subject to FIRB or Foreign Investment Review Board approval, and that normally takes about 30 days, because I can assure you no bank will give you finance for a purchase of a property if you are not FIRB approved, and will probably ask for it, and the FIRB will probably make a condition that when you sell the property, you have to sell it to an Australian citizen, and that it cannot be sold to anyone else. Now, these are just a couple of factors that you need to take into account. So if you are buying a property, or when you are buying a property, before you do, it's really important to get hold of someone who will be able to explain all of this to you, so you actually know the procedure and what you're getting yourself into before you buy your property. I do a lot of work for people over east in Melbourne and in Sydney who are buying properties here, and I actually send them information in written form, and that's why I'm making this video, so they can go onto my website and have a look at what happens. Because what invariably happens is a real estate agent here or a developer selling it here, here's the contract, throws the person into the deep end of the swimming pool, and they really have no clue about how the process works. It unfortunately happens with banks and other institutions working over east, because they don't know the procedure here. So what happens is that you'll make the offer on your property, and you'll make it, let's say, for $500,000. The amount of the deposit can be $1,000 or $5,000. It doesn't have to be a large amount. Normally, developers want 10%. All the deposit is it showing your good faith to prove that you are serious about buying the property. If all the conditions of the contract are not met, like, for example, if you're buying a property in a subdivision and the property is not subdivided, or, for example, the finance isn't approved, the deposit should be refunded.